and he's made up ridiculously with a bath towel on his head and stuff like this. But they say, just so you know, if you get discovered, you may wish to take your own life. Here, and you look down, they give him a hammer. Sorry, I laughed myself sick at that movie.
Well,
oh my God.
I was going to say another funny line that we can quote is at the very beginning when they're in Paris and they're going after the terrorist, and the line is, "He's headed for the Louvre." Because
they've blown up everything else he's run towards, so they. And I love the beginning of the movie. I love any movie that blows up France, really. I mean, I root for the Germans in World War II movies because they mow over France.
Oh, come on.
Only during the French parts. Okay?
That's
I'm not
terrible.
without a heart. I'm not without a heart.
Should I mute him now?
Yeah, absolutely. Team America is an amazing movie that if you haven't seen, you need to see. It's from the guys who created South Park. It's just there are no real words to describe it, but the fact that you have Kim Jong-il and all of the smug actors in Hollywood together in one spot, and Matt Damon as a key bad. I mean, just everything about the movie is hysterical, and it's not a family film. It's not a film that you watch with your family. It's the film that you take that you get the teens to go and watch. That's what that is. It is just absolutely hysterical, though. Amazing. But on the subject of films that are family films, and stuff that I make it my business to watch every year, generally not around this time, but The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is, again, and I don't know why I'm coming up with like movies that are 1 billion years old, but The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is about as good as it gets in terms of films, like, of all time. And it, it's about self-defense, it's about the rule of law, and it has some politics involved, but you've got strong immigrant characters who are making, who are running businesses, and are affected by lawless outlaws who are trying to impose their will through government. I mean, it's amazing. It's really a great film, and I mean, with the actors who are in it, you can't really beat John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart, and just, I mean, Lee Marvin is the bad guy in that. Lee Van Cleef is one of the sort of side character bad guys. He doesn't have a line, but he's Lee Van Cleef. So, I mean, it's just, if there's a movie to see at any time for any reason, and use Thanksgiving as an excuse, go and get The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. It's on Netflix for sure, and it's probably on YouTube, because it's one of those important films that it's a part of Americana that needs to be preserved, and you need to get people to see this film. It is just so good.
Yeah, but we're not hearing the chick flicks.
Doing all the talking.
Come on. Sabrina, the modern one with Harrison Ford. Slow moving. Look, chick flicks, and I'm going to tell you this, and I've said this before, this is coming from an ex-theater manager. I spent 7 years managing theaters. We called them cancer death movies, because the big difference between men and women watching movies, and I'm not kidding now, is men want to watch a lot of bodies flying and falling very quickly. Women want to watch one person be tormented and tortured for 3 hours long. And it doesn't matter how that you kill them. They don't care who it is. They just want somebody they want it to be dragged out and have them walked through horrifying circumstances for 2 to 3 hours, and it's beautiful. Go to beaches, boys on the side.
Is that a commentary on what movies you've seen, or are you trying to tell Cori something?
I'm actually speaking as when we would book movies, we would have to plan out the concessions for them. And literally, when there was a movie that somebody was going to be tortured, tormented, and so forth for a long period of time, we literally had to stock up on chocolate. I'm not kidding. When there was a movie that was like U-571, war movie, whatever, we'd have to stock up on nachos, hot dogs. That's guy food. It's just the way it is.
So the chick flick that I really like the most, I think, is probably Red Dawn.
The original, yes.
Oh, good Lord, yes. The remake.
How's that a chick flick? And by the way, don't knock
it's
the
not
remake.
at all. It's Patrick
Swayze,
so it's a chick. I saw the remake as well.
It's not terrible.
Have you seen Patrick Swayze? How is that not a chick flick?
Yeah.
I'm not a chick. I don't know.
And it's people who were. It's not reluctant hero. It's all of a sudden forced by events to have to step up and be the hero, and you find out what you're made of, and you're disappointed by some people that you thought you could trust, and then you're surprised by people you can trust that you didn't think you could. So you're learning more about people because the circumstances are so extreme and so dire, and you're pulling together and learning what's important and what's not important, and it's family that is important, and survival and defeating the Russians, because the Russians are the bad guys and they tried to take over, and you have to kick them out of your home. And what I loved the most when I saw the movie when it first came out, it was so surprising that at the end they just said the war ended as all wars do. They didn't really give you that big victorious, the war has ended and we have won. They just went with the assumption that the war ended and America survived, America won, as we always do. It was so tragic and optimistic at the same point, and it really, and you're seeing the monument to those who were lost in the war, and it connected you to all the previous wars that have been fought, but also gave you the optimism of the future that whatever comes, we can step up, because these were just high school kids who stepped up because they were asked. And if you had looked at them the day before the invasion, you would have said, no way, man, the country is toast if we're ever invaded. But then they were invaded, and those kids stepped up. And it gave you that faith in the indomitable human spirit and the American experience, and the fact that strangers can come together and fight for common cause. And all of that was in the 80s during the Cold War. So that was, it was a time when we as people really did wonder if we were going to make it or not. And so to me, that was one of those things. And I'll watch it every now and then, just as a little reminder, bad stuff's going to happen, and we'll maybe look around and say, you know what, we're not up to the task. But you know what, we really are. We always have been, and we always will be.
People make fun of the movie, too, but it's not as shallow as people might remember. There's this great transformation in C. Thomas Howell's character where he's completely, wetting his pants scared at the beginning, and then after they've killed his father, he becomes one of their most aggressive fighters. They never get into the details of it, but the Leah Thompson character, it's obvious that something very she'd been violated in some very personal way, and that she's still reacting, and that she's angry, and that fuels some of what she does as well. And it doesn't leave these characters just, oh, let's throw them into a blender and see what happens. They actually do develop them. And the most amazing thing about the movie, I thought, was that the main heroes, the main characters, they die. They die. The people who are left
exactly
are secondary characters.
The main characters die, and we don't have the huge victorious ending. That was really quite avant-garde in filmmaking. It was quite a surprise, and they trusted the viewer. They trusted the audience, and movie makers now don't trust the audience at all. But the guys who made Red Dawn, they trusted us, and I think we stepped up to the task of handling being good viewers of that movie. At least I did. Swayze helped.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
What about a movie for the common guy who overcomes incredible odds and will not give up? Rudy. Who saw Rudy?
Rudy is a great sports movie.
Isn't that great? I loved it.
As an SEC fan, I can't get behind this.
Come on. Gee. You know, one of the things I loved the most about that movie was how it was kind of a picture of the whole American dream. He had his dream, and he was going to pursue it, and he found ways to do it because nobody got in his way. He was able to figure out a job and figure out a place to live and figure out a way to get into the college and then a way to get onto the team. And he never gave up, and eventually he got his dream.
Yeah, I mean, it was the opposite of our entire culture of excuses.
Yeah.
And everything that is in my way. He had everything in his way. He wasn't even a good athlete. Okay, and I mean, and it's a true story, which is amazing too. It all happened. So very, very incredible.
And it had awesome music. Can't get past that.
Yeah.
And see, I thought that the key thing that he had to overcome was the fact that he was being portrayed by Sean Astin.
That was up there.
Yeah.
Hey now.
You're right. Okay. Your nose.
I also like Sean Astin, so not like a Swayze like him, but I like Sean Astin. Don't go insulting Sean. Good God.
Okay.
There's a movie I want to talk about that has Sean Astin in it. It's more of a supporting role, but have you heard of Forever Strong?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Have you heard of Forever Strong? It might just be a local movie out here, I'm not sure, but he's in it. It's about our local Highland High rugby team. They've won like 20 straight high school national championships or something ridiculous. And a kid comes in from Arizona, comes into like the Boys Ranch Rehab Center here, and is kind of turns his life around. The guy says he knows he's a rugby player, so he sends him to this coach, and he works out with the team and gets on the team, and his behavior gets better. And it's a cool movie because it's about a kid rehabbing and kind of living his dream, the team coming together, him realizing people really do care about him. So if you haven't seen it, it's really cool. It's on Netflix as well.
Sounds good. I thought you were going to say Lord of the Rings or something like that.
Yeah.
Nope, my wife made me watch all of those once, and hopefully we're done with that now.
Right.
It's all 8 or 9 or 10 Harry Potter movies, however many there's been of those.
Well, actually, Harry Potter is another film series and book series that really portrays the damaging effects of full-out control government and large government, because as the books go on or as the movies go on, you see how this force is worming its way into every aspect of their lives. And, you know, it seems like it's this huge, just this one bad guy, but as the books and as the movies progress, you discover that, no, it's in the subtle things, too. It's infiltrating the schools. It's infiltrating the curriculum. It's infiltrating all aspects of their lives, all aspects of their home life. And that's a really good conversation starter for people if you're wanting to talk to them about government.
That's what I thought about Spaceballs.
Don't you swerve yet. No, wait. Don't you swerve yet. I have to make this point about Harry Potter. Given how much grief people got for allowing their kids to read it back in the very beginning over the, witchcraft themes or wizard themes or whatever, the fact that it's such a conservatively themed set of books and movies is incredibly good. Especially, given that so many people had at the beginning such an aversion.
Well, that's part of the reason I actually read them, because I grew up in a subculture that was like, oh, Harry Potter, if you read those, you're going to go to hell. And I was just like, come on, is it really that bad? So I watched one of the movies, and I was like, okay, well, what is this all about? And I started reading them. And we don't have time to go into it, of course, but the amount of conservative themes throughout those books is simply incredible.